She said, "I'll be home late." I replied, "Take your time. I've got company too." 3 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a text from her. "Who's with you?" I grinned, glancing at the scruffy stray dog I'd found shivering by the mailbox. His big, curious eyes stared up at me as he gnawed on a piece of bread I'd toss him. I hadn't meant to spark her curiosity, but the playful jab felt like a small victory in our usual back and forth. I typed back, "Just a friend who loves snacks as much as you do." The dog wagged his tail, oblivious of the fact that he was now the center of a mystery. The evening stretched on, and I decided to make the most of my unexpected guest. I rummaged through the fridge, pulling out some leftover chicken to share. The dog, who I'd temporarily named Rusty for his patchy, reddish fur, devoured it like he hadn't eaten in days. I sat cross-legged on the kitchen floor, watching him, wondering where he'd come from. The neighborhood was quiet, and strays weren't common around here. His collar was missing, but he seemed too friendly to be a street dog for long. I figured I'd check for a chip at the vet tomorrow, but for now, Rusty was my buddy. My phone buzzed again. "You're being weird." "Spill it." She was probably stuck in traffic, overthinking my vague texts. I chuckled, snapping a quick photo of Rusty mid-chew, and sent it with a caption, "Meet my company." Her reply was instant. 3 laughing emojis and "You're such a softie." I could almost hear her teasing tone through the screen. Rusty, done with his meal, flopped onto his side, letting out a contented sigh. I scratched his ears, feeling a strange sense of calm settle over me. The clock ticked past 9, and the house felt quieter than usual, save for Rusty's occasional snores. I started wondering about her day. Why was she running late again? Work had been eating up her evenings lately, and though she never complained, I could tell it was wearing her down. I thought about texting her to check in, but decided against it. She'd tell me when she was ready. Instead, I grabbed a blanket and draped it over Rusty, who barely stirred. The little guy was already making himself at home. Headlights flashed through the window around 10. Her car pulled into the driveway, and I heard the familiar jingle of her keys. Rusty perked up, ears twitching, but didn't bark, a good sign he wasn't skittish. The door swung open, and she stepped in, her hair slightly messy from a long day. "So where's this VIP guest?" she asked, kicking off her shoes. I pointed to Rusty, who was now sitting up, tail thumping against the floor. Her face lit up, and she dropped to her knees, cooing at him like they were old friends. She spent the next few minutes fussing over Rusty, asking me where I'd found him and if we were keeping him. "He's not ours yet," I said, explaining my plan to check for an owner. She nodded but kept petting him, already half in love with the scrappy little dog. We sat together on the couch, Rusty sprawled between us, and she finally told me about her day. A project deadline had kept her late, and she was exhausted but relieved to be home. I listened, glad she was opening up, even if just a little. As the night wound down, we debated what to do with Rusty. She suggested putting up flyers in the morning, but her tone hinted she wouldn't mind if no one claimed him. I agreed to handle the vet visit and flyers, feeling a bit attached myself. Rusty had brought a spark to the evening, turning a mundane night into something warm and unexpected. We laughed about how my cryptic text had gotten her so curious, and she admitted she'd picture me hosting some secret poker night or worse. By the time we headed to bed, Rusty had claimed a spot at the foot of the couch, snoring softly. She leaned against me, her voice quiet. "You're full of surprises, you know that?" I smiled, thinking the same about her. The house felt fuller with Rusty's presence, and for the first time in a while, the late-night silence didn't feel so heavy. Maybe we'd find his owner, or maybe he'd found us. Either way, tonight had been a good one.